Hi there, welcome to Wine Searcher. Today I thought it would be nice to pay tribute to somebody who passed away unfortunately a week or so ago. Alejandro Fernández, one of the pioneers of Spanish winemaking in the last 50 years. It was he who started the Pesquera winery, so we have a bottle here of Pesquera's Reserva Especial, and I managed to find a bottle of the 1994, so a beautifully fully mature wine for us to try. It's worth remembering that, Alejandro set up Pesquera as a winery in 1972. They released their first vintage in 1975, and prior to that, really the only winery making serious wine in the Ribera del Duero area was the great Vega Sicilia. Everything else was just being made and consumed locally. He was the person who thought, well, actually, Tempranillo is a superb grape variety, and beyond Rioja, we can put it on the map. He produced fine wines that he started to export to the States, particularly, where they went down exceptionally well. So the passing of somebody who was a visionary and who turned a quiet, sleepy producer of regional wines, obviously with one exception in Vega Sicilia, into a producer of wines that are recognised as being amongst Spain's finest. So what we've got here today is a very old wine. I don't know whether you can see the colour there. It's still holding its colour really well. It's got a dense colour, but the rim is a brick red. It's starting to brown. You can see there are some, I didn't do a good job of decanting this, there are still some bits of sediment in the glass, although most of it seemed to have stayed in the bottle, but obviously I wasn't as good as I thought it was there. Just to show you the cork there, I wasn't sure that this was going to be right, because I mean that cork is completely stained there, so wine's obviously found its way up the outside, and the fill level was about top shoulder, so reasonable, but on opening the capsule, there was dark mould there that suggested some wine got in. There was a lovely plummy, rich smell as well, but opening the wine, that doesn't seem to have affected the flavour, because it's gorgeous. Just giving this a smell, it's releasing some fabulous aromas, and there are some real contrasts in there, because it's an old wine, but it's got really lively, almost sort of red petal aromas, sort of quite strong ones, peony, rose, those sort of delicate aromas, and then it leads into much richer, almost sort of prune, dried date, richness and concentration. There are top notes of cedar, vanilla, which, I mean, given the fact that the wine is 27 years old or so, those aren't primary aromas, but they've lasted there. There's the spice, the cinnamon from the oak, seemingly, but all beautifully melded in there at the same time. To taste the wine, on the palate, that is delicious. It's not particularly full. It's not a huge wine. It's got elegance and delicacy. I suppose there's a note of volatility on the nose, but there's also fresh fruit acid, and that makes it very, very complex. There are all those flavours that you get in the nose. There's a sort of floral perfume initially. There are prunes, there are figs, there are dates, there are raisins, and then actually on the palate it goes through to a sort of a leatheriness, and you get touches of what I suspect perhaps minor Brettanomyces flavours, sort of a slight mousiness that actually fits in beautifully with the fruit. The fruit must have been very powerful, because normally that sort of thing will overpower it, but here it sits really nicely. The tannins are just silky. They are a sort of a memory of the tannins. Having said that, there's quite a lot of sediment in the bottom of the bottle, so they literally are a memory of the tannins that are in here. It's not particularly high acidity, but it is delicate and it's dancing on my tongue. And I'm finding different aromas. The flavors last really well, and the spiciness keeps coming through, and then there's more red fruit. This is a wine that you think might sort of struggle to find its way out of the glass at its age, and actually it's developing beautifully in my mouth. This was clearly a very serious wine when it went into bottle, and I think it's a lovely, wonderfully complex, very clearly Tempranillo. So this is 100% Tempranillo, or Tinto Fino as they'd call it in Pesquera in the Ribera del Duero. Exposition of Tempranillo. Its ripeness shows its place as a Ribera del Duero, and this wonderful complex wine is a lovely tribute to Alejandro Fernández. So try some. I hope you can find some interesting Ribera del Duero. They're well worth trying. There's a huge quality spectrum of wines, but some of the best are some really exciting Tempranillos. So here's to Alejandro Fernández, and goodbye, everybody.